So, Season 2 is finally revealed for Black Ops 6, and after the long wait the last few weeks have been, we're finally seeing our next content introductions, along with some of the changes previously mentioned. Today I want to take that first look at Black Ops 6 Season 2 and the reveal, along with everything you need to know, so drop your thoughts down below, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe to stay updated with all things Black Ops 6 as we gear up for Season 2 and beyond. Also, make sure to follow over on Twitch, where we'll be live a lot more, getting back into the swing of that, so I'd love to have you out and chat with you. But for now, let's get into the Season 1 content reveal for Black Ops 6. Let's start with the multiplayer side of things here. Firstly, the most important and things that you can actually interact with: weaponry. We have a bunch of weapons on offer, plus weapon attachments coming throughout the season that include the PPSH at launch, a part of the Battle Pass, the Cypher 91 at launch, an assault rifle in the Battle Pass, the Fang 82 and LMG in the Battle Pass again, and also listed at launch is the TR2, or what will be the FAL here, the reimagination of that, stated as the launch window but an event reward. Now, they said in season we'll see even more weapons coming. Right now, that's all we know of at the moment, because the other things even listed on the roadmap themselves aren't exactly weapons. Now, that leaves the door open for what that could mean for these future weapons, how many there will be in the future, what they could look like, but we've of course already seen some leaks that point towards what those may be, and the wording of that mid-season ordinance update kind of makes it seem like that's the case. But speculation aside, we also learned of additional special weapon attachments coming throughout the season. We had a handful of those in Season 1 throughout the events and everything, but this season in Season 2, we have a crossbow attachment for all assault rifles, the SWAT 556, and the AEK 973 marksman rifle. This will be available in the Battle Pass at launch. You'll have a full auto mod in the launch window as an event reward for the AEK 973, which will be interesting because the AEK was at the beginning of the year a very powerful weapon in regards to what it could do damage-wise. It's kind of fallen off a little bit here in regards to the main weapon you want to be using in multiplayer or even in Warzone. Probably didn't have that as an option to begin with, but I'm curious to see what the full auto mod will do mixed with the damage of a marksman rifle. The binary trigger will be a launch window event reward once again, where this is going to be for the Tonto 22, making it a select fire modification, making it semi-automatic, but firing around on trigger pull and trigger release. So assuming that's probably going to help the damage a little bit by making it semi-auto. Those trade-offs are usually made whenever we see those modifications to how the weapon fires, but it is going to be something that drastically changes how you interact with that weapon. And the belt-fed attachments apparently are 3 attachments for LMGs and are an event reward. So that's something you can look forward to in regards to weaponry. Maps, we have 5 new multiplayer maps for 6v6 and also a little bit for 2v2, those being of course Face Off. But we have Bounty, a map that is set in an Avalon skyscraper, so another almost rooftop or high in the sky map similar to Skyline, but this one is actually from the campaign. If you played through that, it seems like, where if it may seem familiar, it might be, but with new accessible areas that were not otherwise accessible within the campaign. Dealership is going to be a launch map as well, 6v6 and a medium-sized map as opposed to the small-sized maps we've seen recently. But this one's going to be a more condensed urban environment, but I'm a little curious how this one will go because off first glance, obviously it doesn't take up the whole map, but there is a lot of vehicles here in those images given, and I can't help but have flashbacks to Border Crossing in Modern Warfare 2. So fingers crossed it's not as explosive, as annoying to play on with how many potential explosive cars there are in the map. Lifeline is going to be a strike map, but also face-off maps, so 2v2 and 6v6 coming at launch as well. A more so smaller scale hijacked, perhaps, where you're still set on a yacht, but a lot more closer quarters, a lot more tightly compact, and definitely looking forward to seeing how this one plays. In season, we're going to have Bullet, again, another strike map, so 2v2 and 6v6, a very small, very compact, and very claustrophobic sort of map because it's set on a bullet train. Now, while no map was given here, it does appear from the set images that you can go outside of this bullet train, but that'll probably be the long open lines of sight, whereas the rest of the map is again all closely compact, very well situated for close quarters combat. And then the final map here in Season 2, which is a bit interesting of one, I wasn't quite expecting this to be seen this early on, is the remaster of Grind, a medium 6v6 map, first seen in Black Ops 2 as a DLC map, coming back in Black Ops 4, and now again in Black Ops 6. This is going to be one that is honestly a lot of fun to play on. I've always loved this map, but I just, again, did not expect this to be coming, especially this early on, when you have probably another handful of remasters people would probably think of before if you're getting a remastered map. But anyways, beyond that, we have new perks and streaks for multiplayer. We'll have 2 new perks coming throughout Season 2, along with a brand new wildcard, similar to what we had last season. For the first perk, we'll see it's an event reward that is called Slipstream. That's going to be a slot 3, so it's going to end up being in competition with, say, things like double time, but it's an enforcer perk doing the same thing. But the nice part is you don't have to sacrifice anything out of your other perk setup if you are a double time user. And in fact, this is kind of a sort of direct counter to try and find a mid ground between double time and tack sprint, because this raises your base overall sprint speed but does not allow you to tack sprint. So it's that sort of, again, middle ground between the more arcadey old school sprinting and the tack sprint mechanics we've seen in recent years. Then we also later in season, at mid-season it says, have Hunter's Instinct, which is another enforcer perk in slot 2 this time, but eliminating an enemy marks the next closest enemy to you. So this is going to be a very beneficial perk, we'll say. I'm curious to see if this will be overpowered. There's definitely a perk within Warzone that I think is a little crazy, which we'll get to in a second, but the perks in Season 2 are definitely going to be shaking up the, I guess you could say, meta of things. Then the wild card of Fly Swatter will be coming in season. It is not mentioned when that will be, not mid-season. It's just sometime in season. It will allow players to replace their dedicated melee weapon with a launcher. So for camo grinders, I actually think this will be a very beneficial thing here for you, because of course you can end up taking a primary and then secondary, but not have to worry about if you're working with launchers at the same time. You're doing that in tandem with getting your other categories done. It's something that can help you out by just having it sort of as a backup that doesn't really cost anything against your gameplay. That's not bad at all. We'll also see a new score streak of the War Machine coming as a 1300 score option with mastery badges available, something we've seen in the past. New modes, we'll have the mode of Overdrive, which is kind of like Cranked in years prior, and I guess kind of almost mixed with like Hot Shot from X Defiant, where you have the ability to earn stars, and the more you end up collecting in a single life will give you more gameplay benefits. So 1 star will give you Awakened Senses, which will allow you to see enemies through walls and replenish your health after eliminating a target. So kind of like a sort of Oracle ping from Call of Duty Ghosts. Then 3 stars, you have Physical Enhancements, which increases movement and reloading speed. And 6 stars will allow you to have Augmented Handling, which will improve hipfire accuracy and improve the sprint to fire and ADS speeds. Gun Game, the classic, is going to be returning at launch, so that'll be fun to play around with. And then in season, we'll have some things for Valentine's Day as limited time modes, where there's Third Wheel Gunfight, which is essentially 3v3 gunfight. But on top of that, if one life modes aren't exactly your thing, they're going to have Couples Dance Off, which brings it back to the original face-off of Modern Warfare 3 in 2011, where it's going to be a 2v2 variant of face-off. So you can play those respawn modes of Team Deathmatch, Domination, and Kill Confirmed, but in a 2v2 capacity. Quality of life updates, we've already detailed a lot of these here, but you'll end up having things like that camo tracking, which I think is the biggest thing I'm looking forward to out of the quality of life stuff, not on the season overall. You can either track up to 10 camo challenges or 10 calling card challenges, and I actually think the way it's worded, you'll have the opportunity to do both. So if you have camo challenges, you can track 10 of those and it not affect your 10 calling card challenges. Now, if you don't have anything manually tracking, or you don't have enough to get up to those 10 things, you'll have then the next 10 nearest completion challenges automatically tracked for you. So that'll be available in the in-games and options menus. You're also going to have the ability to set unique HUD presets per mode in multiplayer and zombies. And again, a handful of other quality of life updates we've already gone over based off of what was detailed in the community update last week. But that is your multiplayer stuff. Ranked play is, of course, going to have some things where it is going to have the ability to turn off PC crossplay, so you have console crossplay, but then you have new rewards, new camos per rank, which is definitely going to be nice. So some stuff to grind out there, but all in all, not a whole ton changed in that regard. Zombies, this is where we got a lot of details on the tomb, and just because we're so far deep into this video already with a lot to still talk about upcoming, we're not going to go into like story beats and everything like that, but the events follow Citadel Day more. You're going to be following Weaver, Maya, Carver, and Gray once again to the dig site of the tomb. They showed off a little bit of each of these areas of the map. You have the main dig site, you have the catacombs, you have the tombs, then you have the shrine, along with a subterranean temple and deep excavation site. Plus, aesthetically, what I think is the coolest looking area of the map is the Doorway to Nowhere and Dark Ether Nexus. This gives me heavy Revelations vibes, and honestly, I know it's not necessarily the overarching thought of the zombies community. Revelations, just because of the aesthetic of it, is one of my favorite zombies maps ever. So I love to see this returning here in that capacity. Excited to see what the map holds in terms of Easter eggs. That event quest will end up going live as of the update, it said, but we also see on this map new enemies of shock mimics. So not necessarily new, but like new adjacent, where you have new variations of it, and that might get a little annoying because you have the shock effect of like dead wire, but mixed with an already annoying enemy type here for this. You're also going to see other themed zombies and other entities of that, like armored zombies. They said laborers and worshippers mixed with armed guards are going to be available. Now, throughout this, you're also going to have the ability to get the new wonder weapon of the Staff of Ice. So if you guys were thinking we're going to get a throwback to the Origins sort of parallels here, it is indeed the case. Now, it seems like that is the only one of what is available for the wonder weapons. No multiple staves. You will end up having a quest reward of a variant skin here of that, but it seems like it's only currently the Staff of Ice. Would be really cool if they, again, drawing those parallels, did have a sort of in-game revelation where, no pun intended to what we just talked about, Revelations as a map, but it'd be cool if you end up learning about like, oh, there's actually 3 unmarketed additional staffs, so you end up having all 4, comparable to the Origins Easter egg back in the day. Not expecting that, but I think that'd be really cool. They also detailed there's going to be the return of death perception, so coming back from Black Ops 4 and most recently Modern Warfare Zombies, this is going to allow you to end up seeing obstacles and other items through walls with additional augments for both major and minor augments as you come to expect. We'll see a few new gobblegums of Dead Drop, Modified Chaos, and Quacknarok, which Dead Drop is going to increase the rate of salvage and equipment greatly, lasting for 5 minutes. Modified Chaos reduces all ammo mod cooldowns, lasting 2 minutes, and Quacknarok lasting 3 minutes will just make zombies move around in rubber ducky inner tubes. So that one, of course, being the whimsical one. The War Machine will as well be coming over from multiplayer as an equipment piece within zombies. And then the Tomb directed mode was mentioned at mid-season. And of course, you have all those quality of life changes we've already talked about, those camo tracking and challenge tracking, co-op pause, AFK loadout recovery, and others. That's when we get to now Warzone. Frankly, there's not a whole ton here because there is, of course, the big focus on fixing the game rather than adding new content. This is one of those things that we'll touch on in just a second, my thoughts on this, but a bit of a bummer that you get to see like everybody having fun with multiplayer and zombies, and if you're a Warzone main, there's not a whole ton of new content, but that'll change here in a little bit of time. Maybe at mid-season, definitely at Season 3, it seems like, with the return of Verdansk and probably a whole host of other things, but this ends up firstly introducing, alongside quality of life updates, new perks of reactive armor and then low profile at mid-season. Reactive armor is going to be a perk 2 slot where it said your armor will regenerate up to 50% if you haven't taken damage in the last 5 seconds. Now, I don't know about you, but 5 seconds is a long time in the heat of a gunfight, but also, grand scheme of things, not that long at all. So for you to not have to plate and then still get half a plate of armor back, that could be very, very beneficial and maybe a bit OP. So I'm assuming this is probably going to get adjusted by mid-season. I feel like the initial reception of this is going to be it's a little too powerful, but maybe I'm wrong on that. Mid-season, we're going to see the introduction of the perk 1 slot low profile, where you're going to be able to move quicker while crouched and prone, while also moving slightly faster when downed. So we've seen these effects before. Whether or not it's going to be something that's a high pick rate, I'm not necessarily expecting that, but we'll have to wait and see. And of course, they detailed a little bit of all the coming updates and changes that have already been detailed in that community update and are going to be more expanded upon within the actual patch notes themselves. The final thing coming again is, of course, ranked play once again for Warzone, but this time you're still going to be playing on Urzikstan, but what's different is you have different rewards. You have new achievement rewards of charms, stickers, camos, and a weapon blueprint for X amount of eliminations throughout the season. You have new ranked placing camos. I'm hoping that it's going to be one of those things that if you end up ranking up through the ranks, you still get to keep everything, and it's not a season end reward, but that is something that right now that kind of rounds out what we have for Warzone. Events on the season, we have a few of these already listed. The first 3 are the Terminator event and crossover, the Shadow Hunt event, and the St. Patrick's Day Clover Craze event. Now, the Terminator crossover and event is one that I truly did not see coming. Like, that seems like the most random crossover thing that we could have possibly had. Like, yes, we've had the crossover already whenever it was in Vanguard, but it just seems like out of nowhere for this to be coming back. It just is random. But it's going to be a collectible style event similar to what we had with the Archie's Festival Frenzy and how that should have worked if it didn't glitch out for the majority of players. Then the Shadow Hunt event is going to be coming after that, where it seems like it's going to be a challenge-based event. And finally, rounding into mid-season, we're going to have the St. Patrick's Day Clover Craze event, where this is going to then be something that is, again, another collectible event in multiplayer, Warzone, and Zombies. This allowing you to redeem for rewards. But it says also more at mid-season, so with a ninja theme and a katana front and center, the rumored Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles crossover might not be out of the equation in realms of possibilities, but it's just not here right now. So we'll see if on the back half there is that thing that we've been waiting for and have heard about for a while, but for right now, it's not there. But anyways, that is Season 2 in a nutshell and what was revealed today. Overall thoughts for me, it seems like multiplayer and zombies, I think, is a solid offering. Weaponry, map-wise, seems pretty good. Seems in line with what we'd expect for a sort of above-average offering compared to the last 5 years. But Warzone, on the other hand, because it's much-needed changes, and it is much-needed, like, it's not something we should just ignore and be like, wow, they didn't give us content for no reason. It is a bummer that you can't have your cake and eat it too. That's it. Like, at least until mid-season, it's a bit dry. Nay, the desert out there, but personally, I do think that the game integrity, getting everything back on track, is definitely more important than adding a new LTM or something like that. And honestly, with the looming horizon that is Verdansk, I don't know what you could really do in terms of like meaningful updates other than like a POI update in Urzikstan, which would only last a season or so, or some slight updates to Area 99. Not entirely sure what you do in the meantime for like air quote meaningful content, but it's something we won't see at least until Season 2 Reloaded. So that is Season 2. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you guys think of what was revealed here today? Like it, dislike it, let me know. But if you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. Of course, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops 6. As we gear up for the launch of Season 2 here, I'd love to have you in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.